Gruden passed away, owner of the Seahawks, they gave the franchise to his sister, who is not as into it as Paul. So she doesn't have the thumb on Pete Carroll, which Paul Allen did. Paul Allen made sure Pete Carroll had somebody to answer to. He no longer does. John Snyder almost left for Detroit because he didn't even have personnel say as the general manager. But then Seattle probably overpaid him, so he stayed. And then Russell Wilson wants out. The feeling in Seattle, I've been told this by multiple sources, Russell's frustrated, bad offensive line play, outdated schemes. He has no say in anything. The Athletic article basically told you what we've been telling you for a month to 2 months. Russell's not happy. And so Russell Wilson today, according to his agent, Mark Rogers, he does not, God, for a day for me to forget my phone at the hotel, he does not want to be traded, and he would prefer to play in Seattle. But he is given four teams that he would play for. So Russell has a no-trade clause, so he controls all this. He can go where he wants to go, and players should have this. Star players should have this. He's been in the NFL 9 years. Cowboys, Saints, Raiders, Bears. Now, those four teams are very interesting. Are we sure all four have a great coach? No. Are we sure all four have great defenses to help him? No. Do all four have great offensive lines? No. Do all four have winning Super Bowl rosters? No. What do all four have in common? They're all cool cities. Dallas, New Orleans, Vegas, and Chicago. He's married to Ciara. That, to me, Gisele Bündchen had a lot to say with Brady. We broke the story on Brady to Tampa. Gisele wanted Miami. That was her choice. Because in the fashion and modeling community, Miami, Los Angeles, New York are the three cities in America where there's a lot of business done between, Europe and London and South America and Miami. So she wanted Miami. The compromise was, I'll go to the Florida team. We're not going to Jacksonville. How about Tampa? Because they got good players and we're close to Miami. And that was the compromise, I was told. So those are cool cities. They don't all have four great coaches. They don't have great defenses. They don't have Super Bowl rosters. The wife has a say in this. That's what it feels like. Russell's made his money. Russell's going to be a Hall of Fame player. Now, I do think, let's talk first about Dallas. They've got Dak Prescott. And you're going to have to pay Dak Prescott close to what Russell Wilson is. So is Dallas saying to themselves, if we can get Russell for Dak, we got to pay both 35. Why not go for it? I can see Dallas being interested. I can be. I can. I mean, yeah, I mean, if Dak's number's 35 and I'm paying Russell 35, Russell's better than Dak. Now, the downside for Russell Wilson is Dallas's offensive line is old and lasts about 6 games and falls apart, and the defense stinks. And to be honest with you, it'd be a downgrade in coaching. I don't think that's the best spot. I don't for Russell Wilson. Let's talk Saints. Good offensive line, great roster. I don't know how they'd make it work, and a great coach. So I can see him being totally in tune with that. Absolutely. And he'd get Tom Brady twice a year, and he'd like it. Now, their offensive line's very good, and the coach is good, and it's a great general manager. So if I was Russell Wilson, if you're asking me, this is where I'd want to go. I'd want to go to the Saints. I get a creative offensive coach. I think Mickey Loomis is as good as any NFL GM in the draft. Gail Benson, they run a pretty tight ship down there. Listen, I would just move off. Russell never gets hurt. I just tell Jameis it was fun, good luck, and I'd move off Taysom Hill because they pay Taysom a lot of money. If you could look that up, Joy, I don't have my phone. I left it at a hotel. Can you get out of the Taysom Hill contract? The Saints, to me, is the no-brainer. And the other thing about the Saints is the Saints have a lot of good players. So the Saints could give draft picks and players to Seattle. That's not a bad thing. They could give Seattle multiple players and multiple picks. Then there's the Raiders. I don't know if Gruden can coach right now, and I don't know if Mike Mayock can draft. That would be my last choice. There's too many questions with the Raiders. I do think their offensive line is top 10 in the league. They have a great tight end. They have a really good running back. They have some very nice offensive pieces. But do I want to go in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid twice a year? I'm already leaving the best division in football. It'd be nice to get a break. Get a little break. And then the fourth is the Bears, where I like Matt Nagy, don't love the GM, Ryan Pace. Defense is Super Bowl worthy, but it's a very shaky offensive line. And if Allen Robinson, the wide receiver, leaves, they got nothing. They got Tariq Cohen and a bunch of nothing. So to me, if I had to rank the four, I would say New Orleans, 1, Dallas, because I do love their offensive pieces. I would say Saints 1, Dallas 2, Chicago 3 because of their defense. You'd be in a lot of good games. And also, you get the Detroit Lions twice, and Minnesota's, okay. And I get to face Aaron Rodgers, who I wouldn't mind doing that. So,
I think the Saints is the best.
I think slam dunk. Yeah, listen, if you can tell a quarterback, you got a great coach and a great GM.
The Saints have a good defense, too.
Oh, yeah. But they're going to have, they'll be able to maintain their offensive line. Alex would tell me in my ear, our NFL guru, they've drafted so well in so many areas. They got a couple of great O-linemen that I think are locked into contracts for a while.
The Saints have the least cap space among all teams in the NFL entering next season.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think it's close.
They are $69.5 million over the cap.
They're $100 million over the cap.
69.5. So they would have to.
But here's the thing: if I'm Seattle, you could give them a wide receiver. You could move Michael Thomas there because they have Emmanuel Sanders, and New Orleans would figure out how to get – they'll draft well. You could get – Pete may want a running back. You've got Alvin Kamara. You've got Michael Thomas.
What are they going to do at quarterback?
Well, the question is if Pete would give me Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and for a year I'll be average at quarterback, but my pieces will be so good. DK Metcalf.
They're probably going to want draft picks too.
They will. There's no question.
I think the report was that it's the starting price for Russell Wilson was
three first rounders. Well, I'm not giving you Russell Wilson for 3 first rounders. Remember, general managers don't want just picks. Pete Carroll's history of drafting in the first round, he's hit 1 home run in the first round, Earl Thomas. That's it. Now, Pete's hit a lot of home runs in the second, third, fourth, fifth. His first-round stuff's been pretty dubious, he and John Schneider. And I don't love all this. Rashad Penny was a terrible pick. James Carpenter was a terrible pick.
Well, you couldn't move just picks anyway because you'd have to move some pieces around for the cap.
So let's say it's the Saints. If I'm Pete Carroll, I'm John Schneider, I say, give me 3 firsts and I want 2 players. And by the way, New Orleans is probably like, we got to move some guys. So, and I'd have to look at the numbers. But Michael Thomas is a guy that last year, if you have Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, you wouldn't have to be a superstar quarterback team for a year. Michael Thomas may be a guy they move. And again, the NFL college football furnishes the NFL with 25 receivers a year. So I think I'd try to move off of Michael. And I like Michael Thomas, but I'd move off of Michael Thomas. No, I don't think Pete would take Cameron Jordan at this point. He's expensive. And
if you look at the division, that is the division that makes the most sense. Obviously the NFC East, but when you look at you're leaving, to your point, one bad offensive line for another shaky offensive line.
Once again, no New York teams. He's not interested. New York, you tell me, outside of Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant starts it, but New York teams, most athletes don't want to pay those taxes, play in that weather, and have those lousy owners in front offices. No New York teams included. He wants to go to Dallas, New Orleans, Vegas, or Chicago, and I don't blame him. I think the Saint is... Listen, Mickey Loomis is a smart dude. He'd figure out a way to make it work. By the way, why couldn't you do this? Just for a year. Give him Jameis for a year. Give him Jameis, Michael Thompson, and 3 first-round picks. Jameis is fine for a year. Although, no, that wouldn't work. Pete Carroll, he hates turnovers. Taysom Hill. Give us Taysom Hill for a year. 1 year, Michael Thomas, and 4 first-rounders. I would do that in a second with Mickey Loomis. In a second. I don't know. I'm just having so much fun with the story.
Playing GM and it's so fun now.
Okay, so we are going to do Daniel Jeremiah.